Waid. I'm here for Comic Book Resources here at C2E2, and I'm here with John Barrowman.
Hi.
No, it's a story that I tell frequently, is that I went back to this house that I lived in when I was 10 years old. This is a few years ago. And now I'm really successful at what I do, and I'm very pleased and very happy to be in that position. But I went back to that house when I was 10 years old, and nobody was there. I was out in the boondocks of Alabama, and I was going to walk around this house. First time I'd been back there since we left. And at that moment, there was nothing in the world I wanted more than to walk in the backyard and see like a 10-year-old Mark Waid sitting back there, so I could tell him, "Don't worry.
Yeah.
You know, it's all you're going to get everything you ever wanted out of life."
Yeah.
It's
And also you'll get some. There'll be bumps along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
There was a book that was done. It's what was it? Notes to Myself or something. I think it was called. And I had to write a page where I was giving a message to the 10-year-old or early teenage version of myself.
So what did you say?
I said exactly the same kind of thing. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You know, everything's going to be fine, and there's going to be, people out there that will help you, and I can't remember the exact wording, but it was a very kind of, a don't worry kind of thing. But at the end of it, I actually put, and also tell Dad to buy stock in a product that has an apple on it, because he will do very, very well. It was fun too. But we all look back on it. This is going to sound really morbid, but we look back on our lives as we get older, and we look and we think, but it's not going to be an easy ride. But you know what? If it's not an easy ride, it's going to be a much more fun ride.
Again,
than
much more
anything.
interesting ride.
Yeah,
Exactly. You learn as
absolutely.
much from the knocks as you do from the things that go well.
Certainly do.
Were your folks and your family supportive of your career choices going?
Yeah, I don't think they had a choice, because I knew what I wanted to do.
All right, okay.
I was very determined.
Yeah.
And my brother is an executive for the company's changed its name, so I don't know the name off the top of my head. It used to be Northern Illinois Gas, NICOR. My brother's works for them, and my sister is a professor of English literature and journalism. My sister was the academic. My brother was the sportsman. He was on the American Olympic soccer team the year they boycotted.
Okay.
He was the first non-American citizen to play for the U.S. He was a resident at the time. And I was the entertainer. So we were all very different, very diverse, but all very good. Yeah. That sounded really egotistical.
No. You were all
driven. We all were driven.
Yeah.
And our parents allowed us to feel that we were good at what we did.
That's right.
And to achieve the things. But also, my dad's biggest word of advice to all of us was, don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't do anything, sorry if there's anybody watching, don't do anything half-assed.
Yeah.
Do it with the utmost commitment. Try to be the best, you can be at what you do. And, people can't deny you things. Yeah. And if they do, they're going to have a hard time. You won't get everything you want, but when you're denied it, you can put up a good fight.
Yeah, absolutely. What kept you going in the early days of acting when it couldn't have been easy?
I have to be really honest.
Yes, you do. There's a camera on you. You have to.
I
be
know,
honest.
I didn't struggle very much, and I have to say that with my hand on my heart. Yeah. I have had times in between where I've had some struggles, but at the beginning, I landed a lead role in the West End opposite Elaine Page, and my career started. Yeah. And I didn't have to climb the ladder in the sense of starting in the ensemble. Right. Which was a good thing in a way, but it was also a difficult thing, because a lot of the people who were my age were all in the ensemble, and I was thrust into this leading role, and a lot after that. So I feel like I kind of missed out on a little bit.
What did you learn from yourself during this time? What did you learn about yourself as you're being thrust into that?
I learned that your game has to change. Yeah. It's like, your tennis game becomes better if you're playing with better people who are of that caliber. Yeah. And, I remember Elaine Page saying to me the night before I made my debut in the West End, and I was standing off the side of the stage, taking a deep breath, and she walked past me and she said, "Well, honey, you're either going to sink or you're going to swim."
All right. Great.
And again, some people would collapse at that, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to swim, and I'm going to swim right up with you.
Seriously, you exude this confidence, not confidence in the sense of cockiness or not confidence in the sense of ill-deserved, just a driven sense that you clearly have a vision of what you want, what makes you happy, You really, whether or not that's really at your heart,
I'm a good actor.
It comes out.
No, I don't. I think I am passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
I'm very opinionated. I'm very driven. I have an ambition.
Yeah.
I have a healthy ambition.
Yeah.
I'm not rude to people.
Yeah.
I know what I want. I'm generous. These are things that I'm saying that I feel I am, that I've also been told I am. So I don't want it to sound in any way egotistical.
No.
But there's a fine line between, ego and confidence.
Yeah.
And when confidence becomes egotistical,
exactly,
you can tell it right away.
Absolutely.
And I've always said to people around me, if ever that verge goes across, smack me.
I have, my friends are all instructed. The moment that I become an arrogant jerk, just pull the plug.
And, Scott will sometimes, my partner Scott will sometimes say to me, if I'm, being adamant about something and I think I know I'm right, he will actually just grab my hand and he'll go, take a breath.
Nice.
And I have to go, and I realize then I'm either being a jerk or I'm on the verge of going to be one. So I check myself. But there's nothing wrong with confidence. No. And for anybody, there will be the critics out there of myself who will say, oh, it is arrogance. That's your opinion.
Right.
And you know what? You have the right to your opinion. And it doesn't bother me because I was raised to be this way. I was raised a confident individual. And my parents are very confident. Yeah. Now, that's not to say that when I'm at home, I'm very quiet. Yeah. It might seem unbelievable, but I like to just sit. And even, like when I'm on a plane, Scott will sit across from me and he'll lean in and he'll go, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Because I've been known for an 8-hour, 10-hour flight just not to talk.
Just stare in space?
I will sit. Yeah. And I just sit. And I think about stuff. And I think about what's coming up, what I'd love to do. Yeah. And, people ask me why I'm like that. You know what? This life is not a rehearsal. Yeah. We're all on this planet for a specific amount of time. Yep. And you make it what you want. Yep. And if, again, if you have hard times and troubles and struggles, and I don't like to go into them because I have, I've had my share of letdowns, and I've also had my share of, shall we say, tragedies in my life. But you know what? Everybody has them. Yeah. And there's always somebody out there who's worse off than you are. Yeah. And if you can keep that in mind, it just helps you get past yours at that time, in that given moment, and move on.
Something else you said that really struck me.
This is like an episode of Oprah, isn't it?
I know. Jesus. I know. You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car.
Hey! But I paid for it.
It's, one of the things that's really cool that's coming across here, too, and I want to ask you about that, how lucky you are to have found someone like Scott who you can have that bond of trust. Go ahead.
He would probably say to you, Jesus, it's a nightmare.
No, but I love that. I love that idea that the bond of trust. I have it with my girlfriend as well. The bond of trust is there enough to grab the hand when the code is there. So you didn't even say anything when they put the hand there.
It's a kick under the table.
Exactly. I get that.
I'm doing it to you.
Look at my legs. I know.
The foot is that. I get this, his foot will go in the press, and I'll be like, and if I'm in a mood, like I want to be sassy to him, I go in front of people. Why are you stepping on my foot?
Well, how did you guys find each other?
I was in an alley. Yeah. I was doing this is going to sound really awful, but it's not.
Much worse than an alley. Yes.
No. I was doing a show in a place called Chichester, at the Chichester Festival Theatre down in the south coast of England. And I was doing a play called Rope, and for the first 7 or 8 minutes of the show, I was naked. Yeah. And this friend brought Scott to see the show, and I was naked. And everything was right out in front, so the person knew what they were getting right off the bat. Do you know what I mean?
Full disclosure.
But
right off the bat.
I say that, all joking aside, when I met him, I was told by the friend that he was bringing this guy, and I, thought, okay, this might be. It was almost like setting us up. But when he came to the dressing room, and I kid you not, and this is going to sound corny, but it's the absolute truth. When I turned around and looked at him and I thought, that is the person I am going to spend the rest of my life with, and I have to pursue that person. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know. And he said when he first saw me, he looked at me and thought, actually when he saw me on stage, he thought, that's good. He's totally out of my reach. Yeah. But I thought he was much younger than me. Turns out he's older. I look older, but he's younger than I am. But
cut him open and count the rings. It's
Yeah.
true. So my girlfriend, by the way, just melted into a puddle with that story. So
But it took a year before I went out.
really,
Yeah, I saw him that night, and I spoke to him, and
he saw you.
yes, that was right. He certainly did, and it was a year until we went out on our first date.
Yeah.
After that, and I used to drive and see him at a bus stop, or I'd see him in the street, or I'd see him going to the gym, and I never had. And this is funny. Here it is. I didn't have the confidence enough to go up and talk to him.
That's really fascinating. And was that a common problem with you and dating in general, or just with him?
First answer to the question, no, because I'd only had one boyfriend prior to that, and without going into too much detail, I had a good time when I was younger, but and a very safe time also, just for all of you out there. But I think it's different when you find the person that you know is that person, because something different happens to you inside, and I think that's what it was. It was there was a lack of confidence, but I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know how to approach and get it without seeming like a bullshit, kind of aggressive.
Yeah, but inside stuff was going on too, in the sense that you're right. What you want is now you have to address things that you didn't realize you had to address.
I'm also a firm believer of if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen.
Yeah.
So the more I kept seeing him, I knew this was meant to be. So there was an instance later then when I was doing Sunset Boulevard in the West End, and I instigated another meeting with this friend of ours and Scott, and then we went out to dinner, and the whole night at dinner, we were back at this friend's house. He just couldn't look at me in the eye.
Yeah.
Until eventually without going into any more detail, the other friend went for a walk, and I made my move.
Nice.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And it's now about 18. We're coming up for 18 years.
Holy smokes!
I think it is. Don't quote me on that, because Scott knows the years. I don't. I'm rubbish with the years, but it's a long time.
That is awesome.
It's about between 16 and 18 years.
That's great, man.
Yeah. Hi, I'm John Barrowman, and keep watching, because I'm coming up on CBR TV.